Welcome to Gracefully Booked, a Christian romance podcast where we love to discuss Christian fiction, especially the mushy-gushy happy endings. We love love stories, but never forget the greatest love story of all, which is the love Jesus had for us when he died on the cross to pay the debt we could never hope to cover on our own. I'm your host, Tanya Wood, and I'm so thankful you're here today. Let's start off with a small prayer, and then we'll dive into today's episode of Gracefully Booked. Heavenly Father, thank you for another day, another opportunity, Lord, to reach listeners, Father, who may be curious about you, Lord. Maybe some who knew you once before and just strayed a little too far off the path, Father. I thank you, Lord, for everyone who tunes in today, and maybe even they're tuning in a couple of months from now, Father. Either way, I'm so grateful for each and every one, Lord, and I pray that you just touch their lives, Lord, and help them in whatever way they may need, Father. I give you the praise, the honor, and the glory in your holy name, Lord. Amen. Hello, everybody, and welcome back. I am so delighted to be here with you today. I'm trying to make these videos a couple of days in advance just so that I can stay ahead and not fall behind on schedule. So at the time of this recording, it is actually Sunday, May 26th, and about 3 hours ago, I went through one of the scariest experiences of my life. Tornado warning just popped up on the phone, seemingly out of nowhere. I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it now, but my husband and I decided that we were going to go to my mother-in-law's because we felt that it would be the safest, and I was pretty much driving through like the peak of this storm, and I was so scared. Like, there are very, very few moments in life that I can remember being so scared. Long story short, there was a tree in the road. We had to turn around and come back home, and but we're safe. Everybody's safe. I think they are determining what exactly happened in our town because the damage that we saw suggests a tornado, but it could have just been really heavy winds, so we're just waiting to hear what they have to say. But I am so thankful for the God that we serve and that he is so good to us. Every day I ask him for his protection, and he always sees me through, and I'm so grateful. And if you live in any of the areas that by the time you're listening to this, if you were affected by the storms on Sunday, I do hope that God protected you. And as a matter of fact, right now, I'm praying for protection for everybody through all the storms throughout this evening and into the week. It is scary, especially when you've never been that close to ground zero, pretty much. I don't want to experience it again, that's for sure. But I thank the Lord for having his hand on me and for having his hand on you. So we are going to go ahead and dive right in. I've got my cup of coffee ready. I still have not located my Kindle, but I know that it will pop up somewhere. And I am going to get some book recommendations for y'all. Alright, so the first book recommendation that I have for y'all today is going to come to us from Cathe Swanson. And she commented on my post in Avid Readers of Christian Fiction, and she says, "Hello, I'm an indie author with 12 published titles, romance and romantic suspense." So I went and I looked up her books, and she has a series of 6 books that is called Hope Again. First off, it was very hard to pick just a book because it looks like she has a lot of good titles, but I settled on this one. It is called Baggage Claim. Hope Again, Book 1. And it has 450 ratings on Amazon with an average of 4.5 out of 5. You can get it for $4.99 on Kindle, $14.99 for the paperback, and it is also in Kindle Unlimited. It was published on February 14th, 2017. Oh, Valentine's Day. That is a great day to publish books, especially love stories. I'm a big fan. So I think that was a good strategy on her behalf. And I'll just go ahead and dive right in and start reading the blurb to you. He'll do anything to protect the family he recently discovered and the woman charged with caring for them. Retired soldier turned artist Jonah Campbell lives a peaceful life in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan until an unknown son, the result of a teenage fling nearly 30 years ago, turns up on his doorstep. The idea of a future with a son and 4 young grandchildren delights Jonah, but he didn't expect it to become a full-time job right away. Between college, a new job, and his kids, Ben Taylor is already in way over his head, And when he gets caught up in a dangerous network of fraud and deception at his new workplace, his busy but comfortable life begins to crumble. Determined to keep his children safe, he convinces their nanny to take them to their new grandfather while he navigates the dangers at home. 10 years ago, on the run and in hiding from an abusive husband, Teresa Cooper resorted to deception and disguise to get a job as a nanny in a private home. Now that he's dead, she's free to move on, but she can't abandon Ben and his motherless children when they need her the most. Together, they'll hide and protect the children from whatever may come. As Jonah finds himself falling for the lovely and capable nanny who shares the faith he now treasures, Teresa is drawn to the charming and slightly mysterious man her employer turned to for help. In this beautiful, isolated sanctuary, will she find peace and a second chance at love? They didn't expect the danger to find them in the North Woods, but secrets have a way of coming out, and no one can outrun their baggage. This is a wonderfully written blurb. It gives you just enough to make you curious, and of course, immediately what comes to my mind is the relationship that is going to bloom between these two. I can only imagine what it would be like to become an instant family, with these grandchildren and this son that he had no idea, existed. And then also here comes this nanny. And, she's got her secrets and, that gives me goosebumps. I love it. I can't wait to read this. As a matter of fact, it's going to go on the wish list right now. The cover, which I will show on the YouTube video, of course, it has a bunch of trees at the top and then it fades into the bigger city at the bottom. And I like that. As a designer, a book cover catches my eye for different reasons than it does for other people sometimes. But this one, I do like the colors. I like the dark blue. I love the city image. It just draws me in and it makes me wonder what is going on behind all of those bright lights. And I think that this is probably going to be a really good book, and with 450 ratings, I think that a lot of other people already think it is. So bravo, Kathe. I can't wait to read this one. Again, it is Baggage Claim, and it is book 1 of the Hope Again series by Cathe Swanson. Go check her out. All right, up next, I had a comment from Alyssa Schwarz. I do hope that I'm pronouncing that correctly. She says, I'm an indie author and write contemporary sweet Christian romances. So I went and looked her up and I came across the Prescott Family Romance series. And I really love the simpleness of her covers. They're pretty, but it is the font that she uses. I have always loved fancy fonts like this. So be sure to check it out. You can see it in the YouTube video if you like. I do recommend just going to see it on Amazon for yourself and maybe go ahead and snag on it too. The first one in this series is called The Glass Cottage, and it is a Sweet Friends to More inspirational romance. Oh, I do love me a good Friends to More kind of story. This one has 77 ratings on Amazon with a 4.3 out of 5 average. It is available for $5.99 on Kindle. It is in Kindle Unlimited, and you can get the paperback for $14.99. This book was published on October 5th of 2021, and I'll just go ahead and dive right in. Falling in love could destroy their newly rekindled friendship. As they uncover a century-old mystery, will these two childhood best friends find a way to rewrite their own history? With more questions than answers, Abigail embarks on a journey of self-discovery to track down the mysterious Aunt Josie, restore the old antique shop, always what it seems. The Glass Cottage. Looking for peace and God's direction for her life, the last thing she expected to encounter was a ghost from her past. Benjamin Green, her childhood best friend, the boy who got away. Is this just a coincidence, or could it be the start of something greater? Together, Ben and Abigail work to fix up the shop and stumble upon an old journal. With more questions than answers, Abigail embarks on a journey of self-discovery to track down the mysterious Iris. But the truth is not always what it seems. In this tale of friendship, love lost, and love found, Abigail must decide for herself. Is every story worth saving, and if so, at what cost? A Friends to More, dual time, small town, contemporary Christian romance. And at the bottom it says, welcome to the Prescott family, where these Colorado cousins find hope, new beginnings, second chances, and their own happily ever afters. Set in a series of small mountain towns, you'll meet charming bachelors, cowboys, and dreamers, sweet and courageous women, and your new best friends. This series of standalone Christian romances will warm your heart, inspire your faith, and bring a smile to your soul. Well, it sounds right up my alley. I'm going to go ahead and just add that to the wish list. It's getting longer and longer, guys, and I gotta find that Kindle because there's so many of these I want to read so bad. It's just getting to me. But anyway, Alyssa, thank you so much for sharing this with me. That is a great blurb, a great cover, and I hope y'all will go check her out and get this book today. Our next book comes to us from Heidi Gray McGill, and in her comment she says, "In my Discerning God's Best series, I share the gospel clearly. My target audience is 55 plus females who grew up in the church but need to be reminded of the importance of daily communion with Christ. I do this by crafting characters who live out the Christian life or come to faith through unique circumstances. I would be honored to be a part of your new podcast." Well, Heidi, I am thrilled to share your book. I think it's so important to help. I know he must shake his head at me because I just get so distracted by what's going on around me because sometimes we can just get so busy. And I know that it's bad to say, but sometimes, it's not the first thing on your mind to thank the Lord because, sometimes the flesh, you're worried about things that are happening. You worry about tomorrow rather than just leaving it in the Lord's hands. And thank you, Lord Jesus, that you are just so understanding, Father, because I know that I can be silly and there's times that I know he must shake his head at me because I just get so distracted by what's going on around me rather than listening to that still small voice. Because I tell you what, if I would just listen to him instead of worrying about everything else, I would have a lot more peace. And that has been a lesson to be learned in my life, as I mature in Christ. It's something that I have learned, that if we would just trust in him and not worry about anything else, he's going to see us through no matter how chaotic it looks, no matter how bad it looks, no matter how impossible it may seem. He is there and he will help us. With God, all things are possible. Yes, Heidi, I'm all for that, and I'm sorry that I was yapping. I just felt that in my heart that I needed to share it. So, guys, this is Desire of My Heart, a Shumard Oak Bend novel. It is book 1 of the Discerning God's Best series by Heidi Gray McGill. There are 5 books in this series. Let me click on this real quick, and I do believe that the 5th one, hold on, let me look. The 5th one is up for pre-order right now, and it comes out April 24th of 2025. So you have plenty of time to read this whole series and get caught up and ready for that book when it comes out. Let's see. Okay, this is very impressive. Congratulations, Heidi. You have 1,523 ratings on Amazon with a 4.6 out of 5 stars. Available for $6.99 on Kindle. It is in Kindle Unlimited, and the paperback is $14.99. It was published on November 8th of 2020. So without further ado, I am going to read y'all the blurb for Desire of My Heart. No matter how dark her night became, she knew God promised joy in the morning. In the heart of 1858 Missouri, Rachel's world is a whirlwind of uncertainty. But amidst the darkness of her circumstances, she clings to the promise of joy that God whispers to her soul. Facing the grim reality of being sold off into marriage as she ages out of the orphanage, Rachel refuses to accept her fate. With determination blazing in her heart, she hatches a daring plan with her beloved brother to escape the cruel grip of destiny. Enter Melvin, a widower burdened with raising 2 young children alone. Desperate for help, he sees a glimmer of hope in Rachel, a chance for a new beginning through a marriage of convenience. As God intertwines their lives, the 5 of them embark on a journey that transcends the bounds of blood, forming an unlikely family bound by love, resilience, and unwavering faith. Through trials and triumphs, they forge a home where hope blooms even in the harshest of circumstances. But just when they think they've found their slice of heaven on earth, tragedy strikes, threatening to shatter their newfound happiness. Yet guided by the light of God's love and surrounded by a steadfast community, they rise from the ashes stronger than ever before. Rachel's adventure unfolds against the backdrop of a tumultuous era where every twist and turn brings her closer to her heart's desire. Yet, in her quest for love, purpose, and security, she discovers that God's plans far surpass her wildest dreams. Join Rachel on her breathtaking journey through the untamed landscapes of the past, where love, faith, and the promise of a brighter tomorrow illuminate even the darkest of nights. In this powerful Christian historical fiction, award-winning author Heidi McGill weaves an enthralling tale of resilience, redemption, and the enduring power of God's grace. For Misty M. Beller, Lacey Williams, and Linda Ford fans, this standalone novel in the Discerning God's Best series will capture your heart and leave you breathless. You'll love this book if you enjoy gripping historical drama and compelling characters. Binge read the entire series on Kindle Unlimited. And then it has some bullet points here. It says, full-length Christian historical fiction, a standalone novel in the Discerning God's Best series, includes discussions, questions for book clubs. Timeline is 1858, 1857, for fans of Misty M. Beller, Lacey Williams, and Linda Ford. It also says that there's a prequel called Deep in My Heart that is available for free with a newsletter sign-up. Just search for Heidi McGill to locate her website. Well, I can tell you the vibe that I get from this book cover. It's beautiful. Whoever did this, well done. It is so pretty. You definitely get the vibe that this is a historical fiction. I don't know, there's just something about it so warm and inviting, and I would definitely enjoy this, even though I'm not in the age range that you target. You know, I realize that I'm not getting any younger. I know that I need God every day, and I need to work on being closer and closer to Him, as close as I can. But yes, thank you so much for sharing with me, Heidi. I'm so pleased to share this with the listeners. So guys, make sure that you go grab your copy of Desire of My Heart, Book 1 in the Discerning God's Best by Heidi McGill. I would just like to apologize in advance if you hear my cat back here going crazy. She's freaking out because there's more bad weather coming, so just keep that in mind moving forward. The next one comes to us from Gemma Stuart, and what's really interesting, I've never seen this before, and I'm sure that it probably happens more than I know, but this is a mother-daughter author team that write sweet, swoony ever afters. Gemma Stuart is the pen name for historical Western romance. Jo Noel writes Victorian and Regency time travel romance, and Evie Tuttle publishes contemporary rom-com. And they have asked me to share with you today their Cowboys and Angels romance collection. And it looks like there are 6 books in total, and each one has 3 stories? Yes, 3 stories. So the first one that I'm sharing is Hearts of Creede, Sweet Historical Romance, and this is book collection 1. It has 94 ratings on Amazon with a 4.6 out of 5 star average. It is available for $6.99 on Kindle. You can get it in Kindle Unlimited, and the paperback is $14.99. This was originally published on December 21st of 2021. So we'll just go ahead and dive right in. Mishaps and misunderstandings abound for the men in this Old West town and the courageous, passionate women whose love changes their hearts and lives. The first book is titled Dazzled by the Dancer. Evan is immediately drawn to Fiona, that is, if she doesn't steal his horse or shoot him first. Neither of them knew the power that love would bring to their lives, and in the end, they're going to need it. The next one is titled Lucky in Love. She's a preacher's daughter looking to make her own way out west. He's a saloon owner gambling everything on his dreams. Can people from opposite worlds find their happily ever after? The third one is titled Hidden in His Heart. Helen didn't know she'd fall in love. She also didn't know Lewis wouldn't. Lewis can only hope for a second chance to make things right with Helen and turn their marriage of convenience into a love match. And then in parentheses it says, Touched by an Angel meets Gunsmoke in these sweet romances filled with faith and redemption set in the Wild West. Fans of Misty M. Beller's, Linda Ford's, and Lacey Williams' heartwarming love stories with strong heroines will love the Cowboys and Angels romance collections. Click now to get your copy. Well, I'm definitely clicking to put it on my wish list. What I can tell you is that the artwork on these covers are absolutely beautiful. It says that the illustrator is Aaron Dameron Hill, and I mean, they are just beautiful, guys. You're going to have to come and look at these for yourself. They are just like some of the best art that I've ever seen. I love them so much. And you can actually look and see that these are individual books, or you can get the story collections. And just, I mean, it's just literally a work of art on every book cover. I love them. I love them so much. They're so pretty. This is currently ranked number 49 in Christian short stories, number 60 in Christian fiction collections and anthologies, and 413 in Christian westerns. Now, I don't remember too much about Gunsmoke. I know that my papa loved to watch it, but I do remember Touched by an Angel, and I loved Touched by an Angel. I loved a lot of those old shows. So, yeah, that draws my attention more than anything else. I mean, besides the artwork, is Touched by an Angel. So, thank you so much for sharing this with us, and everybody, please go check it out. It just looks wonderful, and I can't wait to read this. And man, I gotta find that Kindle. All right, our next one comes from Catherine Karrol. She commented on my post and said, "What a fun idea. This is obviously a great place to ask. I'm an indie author with 11 small town Christian romance books set on the shores of Lake Michigan, and I'd love to chat." Absolutely, Catherine. I would love to chat with you as well. So I went and I looked up Miss Karrol, and the one that I selected was book 1 of the Hearts of Summit series, which has 3 books in it, and I picked it because it has snow. Bear with me. Don't get mad yet. I know that we've just come into summer, and I do like some sunshine. I do not like these storms, but winter is always my favorite time of the year because you can always add more layers, but there's only so many layers that you can remove. And plus, just winter I automatically associate with Christmas, and it is my absolute favorite time of the year. And my favorite books. On this one, it says Stay for Love. And like I said, it has snow on it, and there's a couple, and it's just going to be a love story right off the bat. But I'm going to go ahead and get to it. It has 243 ratings with a 4.6 out of 5 star average. The Kindle book is $4.99. It is on Kindle Unlimited. The paperback is $11.99, and this is also available in hardcover. It was published on October 6th of 2021, and we're just going to get right to it. Sometimes love comes at the worst times and places, or is it part of God's plan? Officer Max Brody's last relationship left scars on his body as well as his heart. After swearing off women, his focus is on work and helping his grandfather. But when a mysterious stranger and her precocious son crash literally into his life, he's drawn by more than just curiosity about what's behind their mother-son adventure. Ava Barton was still reeling from the loss of her mother when a hurricane destroyed her home and business. Her trip to a small town in Michigan is supposed to be a quick one, and her plan is simple: arrive, do what she's come for, and leave without anyone knowing she was there. When a car accident leaves Ava and her young son stranded and forced to spend time with the cop who makes them both want to make Summit County their home, her careful plan starts unraveling. When love takes them by surprise, can he convince her to stay and create a family together? Will she see God's hand in their meeting before it's too late? Oh yes, that is going on the list right this second. All right, it is added, and I'm really curious about the crash and what happens, and I feel like perhaps this probably has some cute humor in it as well. So it definitely seems like it's right up my alley, and I hope that a lot of you also feel the same. So make sure that you go grab Stay for Love, book 1 of the Hearts of Summit series by Catherine Karrol. And Catherine, you can reach out to me, or I will reach out to you, and we will plan us an interview hopefully within the next month. I'm still working out details, but we're getting there, and hopefully soon. In the words of "Oh Brother, where art thou?" I'll be bona fide with this podcast. So thank you so much for sharing your book with me, and I'm just so honored to get to share it with everybody else. Thank you so much. Our next book comes from Andie Young. She says, "I'm an indie author of contemporary Christian romance and women's fiction. I have 2 books out and should have my 3rd out later this year. I incorporate the military in some form or fashion." And then in parentheses, she says, "I'm a veteran." She's also included her website, which is at andieyoungwrites.com, and Andie is spelled Andie. First off, I would just like to say thank you so much, Andie, for your service. It means a whole lot to me, and if I could shake your hand physically, I sure would. But I hope that this debt of gratitude over the digital waves will do. So I looked up Andie's books on Amazon. And first off, I can just go ahead and tell you that I love this cover because it has the dog on it, and I'm such a sucker for dogs. I love them so much. But she has, on her series, it's called A Heart's Journey, and so far there are 2 books, with the 3rd one coming soon, and the first one is titled A Heart's Journey. It has 44 ratings on Amazon with a 4.5 out of 5 stars average. The Kindle version is available for $3.99, and you can get the paperback for $10.99. This was released on March 1st of 2022, and we'll go ahead and dive right in. In the span of a moment, Jenny Jones's life is turned upside down when she receives devastating news about her brother serving in Iraq. In the wake of losing her parents and grandparents, Brandon is the only family she has. Until now, Jenny is left wondering why God has left her alone in the world. Paul Thompson receives a call from Jenny, his best friend's sister, telling him that her brother has been killed. He pushes his grief aside to carry out the promise he made to Brandon years earlier. Paul agreed to help Jenny if anything happened to him. When Paul realizes he's in over his head, he and Jenny make a decision that will follow them for the rest of their lives. In her journey to make sense of the losses of her life, Jenny is drawn to the beach where she finds solace. One day, when she reaches her favorite spot, she meets a group of people that will impact her life in more ways than she could imagine. Despite Paul's attempts to reach Jenny through God's love, she hardens her heart towards God. Will Paul reach Jenny before she closes her heart off completely? What I can tell you of this already is that it has given me goosebumps because my mind is already reeling with the possibilities of what is in this book. I have had my fair share of loss in this lifetime, which has actually been a pretty short life so far if you think about it, because I don't think that people are old until they're over 100. And even then, I still feel people are quite young. I know that our time on this earth is very brief. It is but just a blink. You know, like I said, I've lost a lot of people, a lot of loved ones, a lot of friends. Just had this conversation the other day of how many times I have picked out final outfits and, you know, made funeral arrangements and wrote obituaries, and I've just had my fair share. And, you know, as time goes on, the losses get harder and harder because it comes down to the people that you've known your entire life, and they start to leave this world, and it's hard. Now, it hasn't happened to me yet, but I know that it will. But I know several people that I love dearly that have lost parents, and I know how angry they are with God, and, you know, all I can do is pray for them, and I would appreciate if you all would pray for them too. I'm not going to name any names, but God knows. I can't put myself in their position because I have not yet. What I do know is that my grandmother lost her husband, a daughter, and a son within 5 years. All three of them gone. And I asked her one time how she made it through, and she told me it was God that got her through. But like I said, I cannot put myself in anybody's shoes for this situation because I've not been there yet, so I don't know. I've lost grandparents, I've lost cousins, I've lost childhood friends, you know, and all of that hurts, but with time it gets better, and I guess perhaps I have forgotten maybe how bad it hurt. But what I do remember in all of these times is that God was with me, and that, you know, He gives us strength to get through things. And, you know, I'm rambling, and I apologize. I hope that you'll bear with me, and I'm sorry, Andie, that I've kind of hijacked your book here for a second, but this really touches me and draws me in for different reasons, because I know from standing on the sideline and watching it happen to somebody that I love very, very much, that people do sometimes let their hearts harden, and all you can do is pray for them and pray that, you know, they'll feel God's love, and that He'll help them to have that peace that surpasses all understanding. And I know that you can lead a horse to water and you can't make them drink, and I know that ultimately it is up to every individual on what's going to happen between them and God. But this book has just struck something deep within me, and I cannot wait to read it because, you know, I already feel so much sympathy for Jenny, you know, to have experienced so much loss. And from Paul's side, you know, his attempts to reach her through God's love, I have been there so many times. I'm not going to get all sappy and sad on this podcast. This is supposed to be a happy podcast. So, Andie, bravo, because you've already evoked emotions in me that I don't think we're anticipating being evoked today. So everybody make sure that you go and grab A Heart's Journey by Andie Young. It's book 1 of A Heart's Journey, and you can get it for $3.99 today. So make sure you go ahead and go grab that. All I know is that when I come across a book that I've not even opened the pages of yet, and I just read the blurb and it has such a profound effect on me, somebody's done it right. So thank you, Andie, for sharing. Thank you for your service. Thank you, everybody, for listening to me ramble on about this. But it hit something inside of me, and I wanted to share it with you, and perhaps there's somebody else who's having a similar experience. And just know that if you're going through it, I'm praying for you, because it is not easy. I know. Thanks so much for joining me for today's episode of Gracefully Booked podcast. Before I go, I would like to remind you that you can follow me on most social media. On TikTok, I am under Gracefully Booked PC. On Twitter/X, I am GB Podcast 24. Facebook is Gracefully Booked Podcast. YouTube is Gracefully Booked PC, and of course, you can email me at gracefullybookedpodcast@gmail.com. I do have a giveaway going on if I reach 100 subscribers on YouTube and 100 likes/followers on Facebook. So be sure that you like one or the other, or you can do both. Either way, you will be entered for that giveaway, and as soon as we hit both goals, I will be doing the giveaway. I'm so excited. And if you are looking for other ways to support the podcast, I do have a Ko-fi, and you can find that under ko-fi.com/gracefully-bookedpc. I also have memberships available on there. I also post images from time to time, and I plan to do more on there as well. Other ways that you can support the podcast, I have an Etsy shop where you can purchase t-shirts or mugs or just designs that you can make your own t-shirts. I am on there under Terrific by Tanya. And of course, I also offer book cover and book formatting services. Book formatting starts at $30 and book covers start at $40. I also accept payments, and I would like to think that I'm very pleasant to work with. I'm very reasonable, and I've never had any complaints. And also, I would definitely love to be able to do more Christian-themed books because, yes, just like with my writing, my book services started out in secular fiction, and I would very much like to change that. Thank you all so much for tuning in today. I've almost got it narrowed down on the dates and times of which we will be broadcasting the episodes, and I'm still working on the finishing details for interviews, so stay tuned, guys. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. God bless. This has been Gracefully Booked with Tanya Wood. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you've found a new book to enjoy, and in turn will tell a friend. It's always a pleasure to share books, but may we always be attentive in sharing the gospel. May God bless you always. Until next time.